Now we'll go to the second topic, that is called constructor. And to do that, we'll go to our folder and we'll create a constructor.js file, which will be our and this, and in index.html we need to refer that because that should be, yeah. So now if I save it, all this, because we have not written anything there. Okay, we don't have anything here. Okay, so now we can close it and go to our constructor.js. Basically, we had a problem, like we need to write all the code. We need to repeat our code when we want more objects. So that will be resolving inside this constructor. So to create a constructor, we need to write something called function keyword and the object name, that will be in our case the book, and here inside this I'll just add a console log to understand what is happening inside it. This is book constructor. Okay, and what I will do now, I will create, or I'll instantiate this book constructor here. And I'll do something like var book1, and I can create, we instantiate object using the keyword new. So whenever you see a new keyword, then you think you are creating an instance of an object or a constructor. In this case, the constructor name is book. So I'll just use book, and that's it. And if I run this, if I save it, you can see that I got it. This is book constructor console log, which is inside this. So whenever you instantiate, it will call whatever you write inside this constructor. So the next thing is, this is useless, so I can remove this now. So I want a book object similar to the literals I had here. So the property I need is a name, writer, and year. So what I'll do here, inside this constructor, I'll pass name, writer, and year. And what I will do here, I'll just assign them to the value property here. So what I'll do, equal to name, this dot writer equal to writer, and this dot year equal to year. And if I print this book object now, so what I'll do, I'll just console.log this book object you are creating, that is book1, and we'll see what is happening. If I save it, oh, I got a book object, but the inside property are undefined, because this is because we are not passing anything inside this book constructor. So we need to pass some values here, so that it will, because here we are assigning them to this properties, and we are, if you don't send something, then that will be undefined by default. So what we'll do, I'll pass whatever I had before, so that will be Harry Potter, and the second one is, second parameter is the writer, and that will be J.K. Rowling, and the third one is the year, that will be 2015. If I save now, see, now we have the property and those values. So this is the way we create a constructor, and we create an object from that constructor. So now if I want another book2 object, I just need to copy this and pass different value here. So I'll pass something like the Melhua. This is another book I like, and just write the Amish here, and it will be there in 2016. That's it. And if I print this book2 also, book 2. And if I save it, so you can see we have both. One minute. Yeah, okay, sorry. So this will be book 2. If I save it now, I should get book and this is book 2. Book 1 and book 2. Any mistake I am doing here? Why it is overriding the same thing here? Book 2 is undefined. Where book 2 is undefined. Okay. Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. That will happen with you also. Okay, now if I see, I have two book object and this contain name, writer and the year property. Here also we have that. So if I want to create 100 book object, I just need to write this code. I don't need to write all this code again. Okay, so this is one benefit of having a constructor. Okay, so these are property, so you may not be seeing something great here. If when I add something called, I will add one method here, get book summary. Okay, and this method will be having a function and this function is just printing. So to print this, I'll use the literal property, that is by this. So I'll do this dot name, okay, is written by. So next thing is the author or the writer, you can say writer, in the year, and I can give the year also here. That will be this dot year. Okay, and basically I need to return this so that we can see this here. Oh, capital, I don't want. Okay, so if I save it, okay, and I need to use this get book summary method somewhere. So I'll just use this one here and for book 2 here. And you can see this method is working perfectly fine. So if you have 100 of objects, you don't need to write this code again and again. You wrote it once and it will be executing the same thing for 100 times using the same code itself. So that is the benefit of having a constructor. But if you see the book 1 object here, if I remove this, and if you see this book 1 and book 2 object, you can see this get book summary is inside our constructor. So whenever you create an object, whether you need this method or not, this will be there. So that's the issue. We want a name, writer, and year for every object, but we don't want a method called get book summary. That will be an unnecessary load. Okay, so we can handle that using prototype. So that comes to our next thing, that's called prototype. So what I'll do, I'll go to my folder and I'll just add prototype. Cheers. Okay, so now, and I need to refer that inside here also. Correct. So now we are connected. So I'll go to this prototype.js, and what I'll do, I'll just copy what I did inside the constructor to this prototype. So that will fix the issue which we had with this constructor. So what I'll do, this prototype, whatever you're seeing, and our issue was here, this function get book summary is inside every object. So that we can omit by adding this function not to the constructor itself, to the prototype of this constructor. So what is a prototype? Basically, whenever you create an object, that will be available for that object. Like this, you can see that this prototype object is there, and here we can see this constructor, that is a book constructor, and it contains this 3 property. Okay, so like that, for every object, whenever you create an object, there will be one prototype object from where it is inheriting it. What is inheritance? We'll go to that, but you should know that whenever I create an object, there will be a proto object for that. And next thing I want to do is I want to omit this get book summary from here and move it to here. So that's where our prototype comes into picture. So what I'll do something like book, the constructor name dot prototype, and I'll add the method name that will be get book summary, and I can assign this anonymous function to that. And what I'll do, I'll just remove this from here. If I save it, if I save now, oh, this became book 2. I want the book object itself. If I save it now, you can see if I open the object, now in the constructor we don't have this get book summary method. But if we use this book 1, and use this get book summary, okay, and if I save it, you can see that we're able to use that, but we don't have inside our constructor. Then where it is? It is inside the proto object now. So now this get book summary is inside the proto object, so it's not mandatory for the constructor to have it. So every object you create from this book constructor will not have mandatorily this get book summary. It will be there inside the prototype, and if they want, they can use it. Okay, so this is the benefit of having a prototype method.